Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump are both traveling through battleground states this week. The Harris campaign officially launched their, quote, Fighting for Reproductive Freedom, unquote, bus tour today in Palm Beach, Florida, home of, among other things, Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar and Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz were among those who addressed supporters. After campaigning in Pennsylvania over the holiday weekend with President Biden, the vice president heads to New Hampshire tomorrow. Meanwhile, Trump is scheduled to address a Fraternal Order of Police event in Charlotte, North Carolina, Friday. His running mate, J.D. Vance, will be in Phoenix, Arizona, and San Diego, not far from the Mexico border, this week. Caitlin Huey-Burns and Aaron Navarro join us now. Caitlin, I want to talk to you first about where Vice President Harris will prepare for the debates. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, hello. Biggest battleground state on the map.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is the whole ball game. I mean, you talk to both campaigns and they say they're essentially trying to park there as much as they can because really both campaigns can't get to 270 without Pennsylvania. And when you look at kind of where she's going, and Aaron can speak to this because he was just there, but you look at where she's going, she's trying to cut down the margins in some of those Trump areas, right? Win by, or not necessarily win some of those Trump areas, but lose by less is kind of the strategy. And the Trump campaign, I mean, going back to when J.D. Vance was announced as the running mate, they essentially said that they want to, put J.D. Vance in Pennsylvania as much as possible and all those, blue wall states. That is the ball game. That's where the first debate will be just a week from today.
Aaron, dig a little deeper on Pennsylvania and the Harris campaign's approach.
They need it. The Trump campaign needs Pennsylvania as well to get to 270 Electoral College votes. I was just there in Pittsburgh. Big Labor Day Union Hall event with President Biden, Vice President Harris. She's going back to Pittsburgh to do debate prep. She's going to camp out there and then make it back out to Philly for the debate. But this is a state that you're going to see Josh Shapiro in. President Biden has said he would campaign a lot in as a surrogate to help make sure that they deliver that Commonwealth. And when you look at where she's going, western part of the state, maybe some areas that maybe lean a bit more Republican surrounding Allegheny County. That's that big Democratic county where Pittsburgh is. And they need to make sure that Harris is defined in those voters' eyes. Pennsylvanians know Joe Biden. It's his second home state. Defining Harris is going to be their campaign's mission.
And talk about this concept that Caitlin identified as lose by less. Meaning what? How should our audience think about that?
At least in places like Pennsylvania, Georgia, Democrats I've talked to say they want to really play in rural areas. These are not counties they're expecting to flip on a dime, but maybe going from a 75% Trump to 25% Harris loss to something closer to a 60-40 could really make the difference, especially in these states where the margins were so close in 2020, and at least the Harris campaign's posture has been it's going to be potentially even closer this time around.
Caitlin, I played for you for something that President Trump said over this weekend about the 2020 election and what his rights were or weren't. Let's play that.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it, you get indicted and your poll numbers go up.
You had every right to get not involved, interfere.
Interfere.
This is a difference, and it's an important one, ladies and gentlemen, because previously those around the former president, and even he, said he was just raising questions. Mm-hmm. Raising questions is fundamentally and legally different than interfering. He chose the word interfering.
And campaigns have every right to bring about legal challenges after the vote.
Absolutely every right.
He did, and all of those challenges were not won. They found no evidence.
Which means you're obliged to accept the legal verdict after you have exercised your right to challenge.
Exactly. And we are 4 years removed from that. And I've been covering his campaign very closely. He has not strayed away from those remarks about those falsehoods about the 2020 election. And even as his campaign is trying to focus voters on having faith in the electoral system, at the end of every rally, they urge voters to vote by mail if they can, to vote early if they can, to make sure they kind of bank those votes, knowing that that really can make the difference. Meanwhile, you have the principal still not acknowledging the results. A couple weeks ago, I interviewed the former president,
yes, you did.
I asked, will you accept the results of the election? He said, if it's free and fair. Well, we asked also, what does free and fair mean? And he noted, which I think is notable, that he said that there have been changes implemented over the past 4 years that he believes will make this a, in his words, freer and more fair election. There have been changes in Georgia and other states. So, we're just kind of clocking that on the map here. But again, has not once acknowledged the results.
Georgia, North Carolina, Florida all made some alterations to their procedures after 2020. Those are all places on the map. Aaron, this reproductive rights bus tour begins in Florida. No coincidence there. What is the most current Harris campaign thinking about the possibilities, probabilities of Florida?
Oh, interesting. Look, Democrats in Florida will always argue to you that the state should be in play. There should be more investments made.
Should doesn't mean is.
Yes, and from talking to Democrats in the Harris campaign, it doesn't seem like they are making Florida a key battleground. They're at least making some plays in there, in part to troll former President Trump. As Amy Klobuchar said in that bite you showed, 10 miles away from Mar-a-Lago. This comes the week after he was kind of pressured to say that he would vote no on that ballot initiative that would essentially enshrine abortion rights in that state. So they're starting, yes, in Florida. They have another stop in Jacksonville tomorrow, and then they're going to Savannah, back to another more traditional battleground state. But at least to Democrats there, they say having a presence here helps with those ballot measures and maybe creating the infrastructure for some elections down the road.